So in previous episodes of the Mini Skywalker build, I started to glue all the supports into place, the control surfaces, and the push rod and the support. Since the last video, I noticed a few things. One of the big things is the push rod, the control horns here. I have them all pointing so that they are perpendicular to my servo. So if I put my servo in here, then I put the Z position in here, the Z bend, then the push rod goes straight through the control horn. And if it's going straight through the control horn, I can't push on it, there's no levering, and I can't pull on it. And L bend and the Z bend aren't really going to help this. What I need to do is have it rotated this way so that I can bend through just like I'm doing here. I can go sideways, back, sideways, so that I have leverage on both sides. I don't have them set up right, so I'm going to put off finishing up the servos and the push rods here until I get some debonder and I can remove those control horns and do it right. So we knew that we were going to make mistakes. This is one, and we'll try to avoid it. We'll try to fix it, but you should try to avoid it. So instead, this time, I'm going to start on some of the internal electronics. Oh, I did one more thing since we recorded last time. I put a second coat of glue inside here, just to make sure that this is nice and solid. I'm probably going to put a third layer in just before I glue this guy together. But for now, I'm going to put in the electronics. And for that, I'm going to use Velcro. Now Velcro, I use this in my multi-rotors. What I do with batteries, I usually put the soft side, I guess this is the, this is the hook, this is the loop. So I put the loop side on the battery and the things that remove from the airplane, and I'll put the hook inside the airplane. So I'll just do it consistently, that way I can interchange parts easier. So this will go inside in the locations where I want to put my electronics. Now from last time, you saw that I wanted to have the receiver attached down here. I'm going to want to have these things sticking out the bottom. I have since decided that I'm going to have this guy sticking out here and this guy sticking out here going up. And so maybe it'll be positioned more like this as long as that closes. I've plenty of room there. So that's the way I'll do it. In order to do that, I'm going to put some holes inside the fuselage so I can stick some plastic through it. So what I want to do is have these plastic rods going up at a little bit of an angle, hopefully about 45-degree angle. So I want to put my receiver into the front of my fuselage right against this bulkhead here. And that's, I'm going to do that so I can stick the antennas out the side and hopefully up at an angle coming out of the fuselage like that on either side of the plane. In order, I actually like going down the bottom a little bit better because I think I'll have more of the antenna outside the airplane. But if I was gonna hang it down the bottom, then it's every time I land, it's gonna get in the way and it could get damaged. At least if I stick it up here, it'll be mostly out of the way and will avoid damage from landing. Hopefully it won't interfere with the wing too much. I haven't measured that, so we shall see. In order to do that, I learned a trick on how to create nice holes through your airplane, through the styrofoam. Turns out styrofoam very susceptible to heat. It's a very nice technique. That's what this thing is for cutting lengths of styrofoam. It heats it up and it's very easy to cut across. Well, for little tiny holes, you can use a soldering iron, and I don't have this set too high. I have it maybe around 200. I'm sorry, maybe around 700. I'm going to have the smallest possible tip on there. I would avoid using a tip that you actually use to solder. I'm going to guess that melting styrofoam with this is not very good for the tip. Could mess up your electronics. I'm going to try to keep the tip clean anyway. So I want to go in at a 45-degree angle, and if I'd like, what I want to do is get in from the outside at a 45-degree angle. And so let me do this wrong-handed so that you can all see. So I'm going to come in like this and hit it like that. Now that's melting pretty fast. So let me cut this down to maybe around 600. So I want to put the receiver against this bulkhead, and I want to feed the antenna out to the back here. So I'm just going to take this. I think because of the trouble I had gluing on the test piece before, I'm going to mark here. I'm just going to feed straight out. Then, since this is at a 90-degree angle, the wire will be coming up here. I really want it to angle that way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of draw it up this way. Now there's a bit of a stink to this. You want to have a nice open area when you're soldering, when you're melting this styrofoam, because it does not smell good. Okay, so it'll get us an angle we want as long as we can get the antenna through. So let's double check. We'll put the antenna through the hole, and you can see that the inside of the hole is kind of big and ugly looking. The outside is kind of smooth, and that's the whole point of using the melting technique, is that it doesn't really create a bad looking cut. And that looks like it's good. I'm a little afraid now though about the airplane, about the wings. It's going to come up to here, and my guess it's going to interfere with the wings. Alright, so the receiver is going to get mounted here. I'm going to mount it this way. So it'll be channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. The little bind plug pin right there. I'm going to make sure that that's left uncovered. I don't need a whole lot of tape for this anyway. It's not very heavy. I'm going to get the loop side of the Velcro. I'm just going to cut off about the same size. Now I want this centered in here. So I'm going to end up cutting this in half. The ESC is going to mount up here. This is going to come out to the motor, so I'm going to put that in this way so that the motor pins have to come in to the ESC. If I hang them out here, there's a chance that the cabling might interfere with the props. So I'm going to put it inside a little bit. Okay. I'm going to have, this is the battery connector. I'm going to have that mounted down here. Okay. And then this I will have collected so that it can fit into the back of the receiver. So this all starts with the ESC being mounted right around here. So I was taping on the ESC, and again had some video issues. Don't worry, I'm going to replace this recording equipment. It's not permanent. A couple of things I was saying as I was doing it. First, if this was a bigger ESC, I'd probably have to worry about heat. And if I were worried about heat, I might actually place it on the outside so that as air travels over, it would be cooling it. But with such a small ESC, I'm not really worried about it. So I'm going to glue it on the inside to keep my airplane tidy. I'm going to tape my motor connector into position here, and I'm just going to use some packing tape here. Hopefully that'll be strong enough. I don't really expect it to have a lot of pressure against it. So the next bit is to put this thing into place. This is the battery connector. I want it more or less permanent in here. I'm going to be connecting the battery in and out. It's going to be taking a bunch of tugging, and I don't want to have it come loose. And so I think I'll use some double-sided tape. Now there's 2 levels of double-sided tape. There might be more, but there's this stuff, and it's pretty wimpy. It can hold like almost nothing. And then there's this stuff, which is from 3M. It's much stronger, and so I will be using this. Okay, the trick with double-sided tape of any strength is to get as much surface area as you possibly can in connection with both surfaces, both sides of the double-sided tape. So I'm just pushing this down so I can get as much of the tape onto the styrofoam as I can get. And again, that'll strengthen as it dries. And so I will put it on here and then not play around with it. The last thing I want to do is I want to tidy up this wire here. It's much longer than I need it to be. I'm tempted to shorten it. I may end up doing that, but not right now. Instead, I'll just wrap it around and rubber band it. servo wire for the elevator is going to go back here, and it's going to need to go approximately from here in. So I'm going to tack this all into place as cleanly as I can along the outside. And then once I get it into here, I will tack it and then have it feed into there. So this could look much prettier, but it'll definitely hold, which is what I'm all about, making it work. Alright, this is elevator. Let's assume that this is channel 1. The ailerons are going to use this cable here. Now I've tried this before, and what I want are these cables to come up just out the top surface here. So to accomplish that, I'm going to use the melt the styrofoam trick just to get a little bit of a indent here. Alright, when it comes down to the other side, I'll probably glue these things into place, glue the halves together before I tape everything. I'll tape the second one on. It will come in like that, get taped into place. And then let's double check that it'll reach. You can see there's plenty of overlap here. These will fit without a problem. Alright, the electronics are in place. I have the motor that's going to mount on the back here and on the back of the wing. I will do that in another episode, but what's left is the battery mount, and again this is going to be Velcro. I'm going to put Velcro along the whole bottom here because I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going to put the battery. The battery is going to help me get the center of gravity right, so let's show you that in here. It might be here, anywhere along here, and it's going to help determine the center of gravity. So I'm going to line this whole area in here with Velcro. And as with the rest of the airplane side of the components, I use the loop side, I'm sorry, the hook side, the thicker side, inside the airplane. Alright, so that's the bed of the cockpit, ready to receive a battery. And what I will do is now put an amount of battery, actually this is the battery that I plan on using with the airplane. So what I will probably do is once I get the center of gravity, I'll mark the edges of where this battery should go, or maybe I'll just put in a little bit of styrofoam as a guide, but we will see. But for now, I'll be able to move it back and forth until I know where it's supposed to go. I think that's all I'll cover in this episode. Look forward to the next episode where I think I will put the motors on. Hopefully I will have a fix for my control surfaces. I do have some more work other than just rearranging these guys, but I have to cut them out, make sure that they're flexible enough and that the control rods will actually move. It is starting to feel some heft to it. It actually feels like I'm getting close, so I'm really happy with the way this is going. I hope you are too. I will update the previous video with what I do to fix this when I figure that out myself. That way, anyway, until the next time, Thanks for watching.